Chiang Kai-shek was a Chinese political and military leader who served as the leader of the Republic of China between 1928 and 1975. He is known as Chiang Chung-cheng or Chiang Chie-shi in Standard Chinese. Chiang was an influential member of the Kuomintang, the Chinese Nationalist Party, and was a close ally of Sun Yat-sen. He became the commandant of the Kuomintang's Whampoa Military Academy and took Sun's place as leader of the KMT when Sun died in 1925. In 1926, Chiang led the Northern Expedition to unify the country, becoming China's nominal leader. He served as chairman of the National Military Council of the Nationalist Government of the Republic of China from 1928 to 1948. Chiang led China in the Second Sino-Japanese War, consolidating power from the party's former regional warlords. Unlike Sun Yat-sen, Chiang Kai-shek was socially conservative, promoting traditional Chinese culture in the New Life movement and rejecting Western democracy and the nationalist democratic socialism that Sun embraced in favor of an authoritarian government. Chiang's predecessor, Sun Yat-sen, was well liked and respected by the communists. But after Sun's death, Chiang was not able to maintain good relations with the Chinese Communist Party. A major split between the nationalists and communists occurred in 1927, and, under Chiang's leadership, the nationalists fought a nationwide civil war against the communists. After Japan invaded China in 1937, Chiang agreed to a temporary truce with the CCP, despite some early cooperative military successes against Japan. By the time that the Japanese surrendered in 1945, neither the CCP nor the KMT trusted or was actively cooperating with the other. After the Marshall Mission, an American-sponsored attempt to negotiate a coalition government, failed in 1946, the Chinese Civil War resumed. The CCP defeated the nationalists in 1949. Westad says the communists won the Civil War because they made fewer military mistakes than Chiang Kai-shek, and because in his search for a powerful centralized government, Chiang antagonized too many interest groups in China. Furthermore, his party was weakened in the war against Japan. Meanwhile, the communists told different groups, such as peasants, exactly what they wanted to hear, and cloaked themselves in the cover of Chinese nationalism. Chiang's government and army retreated to Taiwan, where Chiang imposed martial law and persecuted people critical of his rule in a period known as the White Terror. After evacuating to Taiwan, Chiang's government continued to declare its intention to retake mainland China. Chiang ruled Taiwan securely as President of the Republic of China and General of the Kuomintang until his death in 1975. Early life. Childhood. Chiang was born in Zikou, a town approximately 30 kilometers southwest of Ningbo city center, in Fenghua, Zhejiang. However, his ancestral home, a concept important in Chinese society, was the town of Heqiao in Yixing, Jiangsu, approximately 38 kilometers southwest of central Wuxi, and 10 kilometers from the shores of Lake Tai. Chiang's father, Jiang Zhaokong, and mother, Wang Kaiyu, were members of an upper-middle to upper-class family of salt merchants. Chiang's father died when he was only 8 years of age, and he wrote of his mother as the embodiment of Confucian virtues. In Japan, 1905 to 1911, Chiang grew up at a time in which military defeats and civil strife between warlords had left China destabilized and in debt. Successive demands of Western powers and of Japan since the Opium Wars of 1839 to 1860 had left China owing millions of taels of silver. He decided to pursue a military career. He began his military education at the Beijing Military Academy in 1906, coincidentally in the same year that Japan devalued its paper currency, pairing it with gold and silver. He then left for the Tokyo Shinbugakko, an Imperial Japanese Army Academy preparatory school for Chinese students, in 1907. there came under the influence of compatriots to support the revolutionary movement to overthrow the Qing dynasty and to set up a Chinese republic. He befriended fellow Zhejiang native Chen Qimai, and in 1908 Chen brought Chiang into the Tongmenghui, a precursor of the Kuomintang organization. Chiang served in the Imperial Japanese Army from 1909 to 1911. Returned to China. Chiang returned to China in 1911 after learning of the outbreak of the Wuchang Uprising, intending to fight as an artillery officer. He served in the Revolutionary Forces, where he led a regiment in Shanghai under his friend and mentor Chen Qimai, as one of Chen's chief lieutenants. In early 1912, a dispute arose between Chen and Tao Chen Shang, who was an influential member of the Revolutionary Alliance and who opposed both Sun Yat-sen and Chen. Tao sought to avoid escalating the quarrel by hiding in a hospital but was discovered there by Chiang. Chen dispatched assassins. Chiang may not have taken part in the act but would later assume responsibility to help Chen avoid trouble. Chen valued Chiang despite Chiang's by now legendary quick temper, believing that such bellicosity was useful in a military leader. Alternatively, Professor Picconello H. reports that Chiang may have killed Tao in the hospital with a pistol. Chiang's friendship with Chen Qimai signaled an association with Shanghai's criminal syndicate. During Chiang's time in Shanghai, he was watched by British-administered Shanghai International Settlement Police, who charged him with various felonies. These charges never resulted in a trial and Chiang was never jailed. Chiang became a founding member of the KMT after the success of the 1911 revolution. After the takeover of the Republican government by Yuan Shikai and the failed Second Revolution in 1913, Chiang, like his KMT comrades, divided his time between exile in Japan and the havens of the Shanghai International Settlement. In Shanghai, Chiang cultivated ties with the city's underworld gangs, which were dominated by the notorious Green Gang and its leader Du Yusheng. On May 18, 1916, agents of Yuan Shikai assassinated Chen Qimai. Chiang then succeeded Chen as leader of the Chinese Revolutionary Party in Shanghai. Sun Yat-sen's political career was at its lowest point during this time when most of his old Revolutionary Alliance comrades refused to join him in the exiled Chinese Revolutionary Party. Establishment of the Kuomintang in Guangzhou in 1917, Sun Yat-sen moved his base of operations to Guangzhou, and Chiang joined him in 1918. At this time Sun remained largely sidelined, and, without arms or money, was soon expelled from Guangzhou and exiled again to Shanghai. He was restored to Guangzhou with mercenary help in 1920. After returning to Guangzhou, a rift developed between Sun, who sought to militarily unify China under the KMT, and Guangdong Governor Chen Jiongming, who wanted to implement a federalist system with Guangdong as a model province. On June 16, 1923, Chen attempted to assassinate Sun and had his residence shelled. During a prolonged skirmish between the troops of these opposing forces, Sun and his wife Sung Qingling narrowly evaded heavy machine gun fire and were rescued by gunboats under Chiang's direction. The incident earned Chiang the trust of Sun Yat-sen. Sun regained essential control of Guangzhou in early 1924, again with the help of mercenaries from Yunnan, and accepted aid from the Kuomintang. Undertaking a reform of the KMT, he established a revolutionary government aimed at unifying China under the KMT. That same year, Sun sent Chiang to spend 3 months in Moscow studying the Soviet political and military system. During his trip in Russia, Chiang met Leon Trotsky and other Soviet leaders, but quickly came to the conclusion that the Russian model of government was not suitable for China. Chiang later sent his eldest son, Qinghuo, to study in Russia. After his father's split from the First United Front in 1927, Qinghuo was forced to stay there, as a hostage, until 1937. Chiang wrote in his diary, "It is not worth it to sacrifice the interest of the country for the sake of my son." Chiang even refused to negotiate a prisoner swap for his son in exchange for the Chinese Communist Party leader. His attitude remained consistent, and he continued to maintain, by 1937, that "I would rather have no offspring than sacrifice our nation's interests." Chiang had absolutely no intention of ceasing the war against the Communists. Chiang Kai-shek returned to Guangzhou and in 1924 was appointed commandant of the Whampoa Military Academy by Sun. Chiang resigned from the office for 1 month in disagreement with Sun's extremely close cooperation with the Kuomintang, but returned at Sun's demand. The early years at Whampoa allowed Chiang to cultivate a cadre of young officers loyal to both the KMT and himself. Throughout his rise to power, Chiang also benefited from membership within the nationalist Tiandahui fraternity, to which Sun Yat-sen also belonged, and which remained a source of support during his leadership of the Kuomintang. Succession of Sun Yat-sen. Competition with Wang Jingwei. Sun Yat-sen died on March 12, 1925, creating a power vacuum in the Kuomintang. A contest ensued between Chiang, who stood at the right wing of the KMT, and Sun Yat-sen's close comrade in arms Wang Jingwei, who leaned towards the left. Although Wang succeeded Sun as chairman of the national government, Chiang's relatively low position in the party's internal hierarchy was bolstered by his military backing and adept political maneuvering following the Zhongshan warship incident. On June 5, 1926, Chiang became commander-in-chief of the National Revolutionary Army, and on July 27 he launched a military campaign known as the Northern Expedition in order to defeat the warlords controlling northern China and to unify the country under the KMT. The NRA branched into 3 divisions. To the west was Wang Jingwei, who led a column to take Wuhan. Bai Chongxi's column went east to take Shanghai. Chiang himself led in the middle route, planning to take Nanjing before pressing ahead to capture Beijing. However, in January 1927, Wang Jingwei and his KMT leftist allies took the city of Wuhan amid much popular mobilization and fanfare. Allied with a number of Chinese communists and advised by Soviet agent Mikhail Borodin, Wang declared the national government as having moved to Wuhan. Having taken Nanjing in March, Chiang halted his campaign and prepared a violent break with Wang's leftist elements, which he believed threatened his control of the KMT. Now with an established national government in Nanjing, and supported by conservative allies including Hu Hanmin, Chiang's expulsion of the Communists and their Soviet advisors led to the beginning of the Chinese Civil War. Wang Jingwei's national government was weak militarily, and was soon ended by Chiang with the support of a local warlord. Eventually, Wang and his leftist party surrendered to Chiang and joined him in Nanjing. In the Central Plains War, Beijing was taken on June 1928 from an alliance of the warlords Feng Yuzhang and Yan Zishan. In December, the Manchurian warlord Zhang Zuliang pledged allegiance to Chiang's government, completing Chiang's nominal unification of China and ending the warlord era. In 1927, when he was setting up the nationalist government in Nanjing, he was preoccupied with the elevation of our leader drive. Sun Yat-sen to the rank of Father of our Chinese Republic. Dr. Sun worked for 40 years to lead our people in the nationalist cause, and we cannot allow any other personality to usurp this honored position. He asked Chen Guofu to purchase a photograph that had been taken in Japan around 1895 or 1898. It showed members of the Revived China Society with Yung Kuo-wan as president, in the place of honor, and Sun, as secretary, on the back row, along with members of the Japanese chapter of the Revived China Society. When told that it was not for sale, Chiang offered $1 million to recover the photo and its negative. The party must have this picture and the negative at any price. They must be destroyed as soon as possible. It would be embarrassing to have our father of the Chinese Republic shown in a subordinate position. Chiang never obtained either the photo or its negative. Chiang made great efforts to gain recognition as the official successor of Sun Yat-sen. In a pairing of great political significance, Chiang was Sun's brother-in-law. He had married Sung Mei-ling, the younger sister of Sung Ching-ling, Sun's widow, on December 1, 1927. Originally rebuffed in the early 1920s, Chiang managed to ingratiate himself to some degree with Sung Mei-ling's mother by first divorcing his wife and concubines and promising to sincerely study the precepts of Christianity. He read the copy of the Bible that Mei-ling had given him twice before making up his mind to become a Christian, and 3 years after his marriage he was baptized in the Sung's Methodist Church. Although some observers felt that he adopted Christianity as a political move, studies of his recently opened diaries suggest that his faith was strong and sincere and that he felt that Christianity reinforced Confucian moral teachings. Upon reaching Beijing, Chiang paid homage to Sun Yat-sen and had his body moved to the new capital of Nanjing to be enshrined in a grand mausoleum. Rising power in the West and in the Soviet Union, Chiang Kai-shek was known as the Red General. Movie theaters in the Soviet Union showed newsreels and clips of Chiang. At Moscow, Sun Yat-sen University portraits of Chiang were hung on the walls, and, in the Soviet May Day parades that year, Chiang's portrait was to be carried along with the portraits of Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, Joseph Stalin, and other socialist leaders. The United States consulate and other Westerners in Shanghai were concerned about the approach of Red General Chiang as his army was seizing control of large areas of the country in the Northern Expedition. The Western powers backed the Zhili clique, and were concerned about either the Soviet-backed Kuomintang or the Japanese-backed Fengshan clique seizing control of China. The Japanese were also concerned that Chiang might defeat the Fengshan clique. On April 12, Chiang carried out a purge of thousands of suspected communists and dissidents in Shanghai, and began large-scale massacres across the country collectively known as the White Terror. Throughout April 1927, more than 12,000 people were killed in Shanghai. The killings drove most communists from urban cities and into the rural countryside, where the KMT was less powerful. In the year after April 1927, over 300,000 people died across China in anti-communist suppression campaigns executed by the KMT. In communists' opinion, they believe the White Terror in China took millions of lives, most of them in the rural areas. No concrete number can be verified. Chiang allowed for the escape of Soviet agent and advisor Mikhail Borodin and Soviet military officer Vasily Blucher to safety after the purge.